Please tell me it's the same people and not another company copying the exact same branding and naming style as Analog. Like, I lose all respect if this is a different company. On the whole, like, I haven't picked this up. I have, hold on, what do I have? I have a ROM dumper. Like, you can get cheap ROM dumpers. This one's not super expensive, so I'm not entirely, like, against it. But I don't see, like, I don't know. Being able to use stuff like using the Game Boy camera as a webcam with it is actually pretty cool. That's something I do with the GBA consolizer just for fun. Like, I saw this get released. I remember talking about it a little bit. For $50, like, you can't go wrong. It seems useful. There are other ROM dumpers out there for like $20. The idea of playing off the cart and then saving your save back to it is kind of cool, I guess. But if I'm going to play in an emulator, I just want to save it in an emulator. Like, personally for me, playing in an emulator and playing on physical hardware are very different experiences with very different things. And I don't really have any interest personally in crossing between them. However, the part that excites me here is the ability to dump your own homebrew and stuff to it. Because I used to mess around a lot with ROM hacking, and I even owned some ROM hack Game Boy cards. In fact, I probably have one right here. Like, I used to be big in the Pokemon ROM hacking scene back in the early 2000s. And this right here is a ROM hack of a Pokemon game dumped to a cart. So that aspect of it is actually really cool. It's insanely cool. And so I do appreciate that. And I will probably pick this up at some point because I love tinkering with this kind of stuff. Counterfeit cartridge detection is kind of cool for resellers. But the idea of playing off a physical cart on an emulator has just never made sense to me personally. I guess I do see the value though, as I'm giving, like, I like giving my gut reactions to things and then giving a more reasonable reaction. I do see the value if you have your childhood game collection and like, you have a bucket of your old childhood Game Boy games. You want to play them. You don't want to play on a tiny Game Boy because honestly, they're not fun. It's the reason I have a consolizer, because I want to play it on a bigger screen. And you don't want to buy, or you don't want to go buy a fragile old Game Boy. You could play it on the computer, still have your old save files if the batteries didn't die. A lot of them have. Please replace them. And you can keep it going. That's pretty cool. And if you don't already have a ROM dumper, there's nothing wrong with buying this one either. So I will probably order this. Like, I have a ROM dumper, but yeah, this one, as you said, this one is kind of cute. And it does have some cool features that I do like. And in fact, I may buy a second one just to have the Game Boy camera mounted as a webcam. Because again, that was something I did back in 2018 with the Game Boy consolizer. And this would be a more like easily static solution for it. Although this is more about transferring pictures, so it probably doesn't do video streaming. But yeah. Someone said, playing off physical cards means you or someone else paid the license fee and no infringement occurred. I personally don't believe that matters. I'm not necessarily a huge advocate for piracy, especially these days. Like, I used to be more into that. I don't really believe that matters or agrees. I don't think it makes sense to assign value to used purchases of software. That makes no sense to me. If I buy abandonware or a physical cartridge of a game that came out 20 years ago from another person, not a single dollar that I spent on this game goes to the company that made it. Goes to the publisher that produced it and put their money behind it, not to the developers that put their work in on it. Not a single dollar I pay goes to it. So on like a morality and practicality level, there is no difference other than if you want to get into more abstract things like e-waste or contributing to your local economy or something like that. There is no tangible advantage to me buying a used piece of software versus using a free copy. And if anything, the cartridges become fragile, they die over time, you want to preserve them, you got to replace the batteries, whatever. It makes more sense. Like, even if you do buy a physical cart, you should still probably be playing the digital copy. And what's the difference between like downloading a ROM of a game? Like, if I bought this game, whatever game, if I bought this game when it came out 10 years ago and I sold it off or don't have it anymore or lost it, broke it, whatever, and go download a ROM of it, how is that different than buying a used copy from someone else? Because I already paid for the license, just not the license of the exact unit I'm using. That kind of stuff really bothers me. Like, there's a much bigger discussion to be had as we get into some real awkward, like, legal battles when it comes to game preservation and all that stuff. But I firmly stand on the hill of buying used software is morally no better than just using it for free once it's abandonware. Well, like, I guess used software of new software isn't really better either, but like, I don't know. It's a really tough discussion, but I really like, I don't like it.